this off with the state of America. I always start off with the state of America, simply because, first of all, my company, we cover all these different things that's up in here, but these things are something, when we started this company, that we went back to find out what is some of the issues that's plaguing the communities, what's plaguing certain races, all races, but what's plaguing men, what's plaguing fathers, what's plaguing business owners, brothers, fraternity brothers, sorority sisters, all these things. So number one, here's a big deal. Just read that right there. It says about 79 million people have a 603 credit score or lower. Okay, so that's in the lowest percentile right there, 603, 79 million people. All right, and we're not here to point fingers, because there's a myth out there about credit that if you got low credit scores and you broke, or you got low credit scores, you poor, or you lack discipline, or all those different things. It's none of those things right there. Some of that, but it's not all those things. People have credit issues sometimes because they had a new baby, because they got married, because they moved, because they lost a job, because they just graduated college, because they can't find a job, because they love shopping on Amazon. Now, that's one of the ones right there that's not good. You understand what I'm saying? But I'm just trying to give you an example. So a lot of times when people come to us, they feel embarrassed to ask for help. That's horrible. It takes strength to ask for help. If you don't know how to fix it, then you should try to seek some help, even if not me. Find somebody to help you get your credit fixed, because it is not cool to run around with bad credit, because credit works like this, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. It ain't when you're going to need it. I know it's not if you're going to need it. It's when. You're going to need it. You're going to need it. Here's the other catch right here that pains me, or disturbs me more or less. It says nearly half of Americans don't even know their credit scores. And I got to ask this in the group. And Andre, you can facilitate that. You know what I'm saying? It's not nothing I'm going to spend a lot of time on, but it says nearly half of Americans don't know their credit score. Why is this? If somebody want to drop something in the chat, again, I'm one of those type of people. I'm not a lecturer. I do lecture/conferences. You know what I'm saying? I like to get some involvement in it to make sure that I ain't out talking to myself. All right. But again, nearly half Americans don't even know their credit score. Why is that? You know, and I'll tell you, if you're 21 years old and older, okay, you need to know what your credit score is, because again, it ain't when you're going to need it. No, it's not if you're going to need it, it's when. All right, and I'm going to share a couple of things. Average debt, and I'm going to move on from this slide, but the average debt is over $225,000, with many having less than $300 in their savings. What am I saying right here, and how does that tie into credit? Well, number one, we already hustling backwards. If we're sitting on two, you got a house mortgage, you got rent, or you got a car payment, you got insurance, you got all these different things. We have less than $300, and we got bad credit. We already got ourselves in a bad situation. That's why somewhere down the line, we got to hunker down and say, you know what, enough is enough. I got to get my stuff together. So with that being said, I'm going to slide on to the next slide real quick. But these are people right here. This is nothing. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. These are adults on this call right here. But everyone knows this. These are people who always need to. They're going to always. There's no way around it. When you're dealing with with your credit, these are people that you're going to have to see, and they're going to have to dive into your credit. Mortgage brokers, car dealerships, real estate agents, loan, and on and on. You guys can read these things right here. All right. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that right there. If I was talking to the collegiate or some of your younger crowds that we talk to, these are things that we talk to them about. But if you want to make sure you take a snapshot of that flyer, then by all means do so, because they need to know that coming out of college, in high school, we need to be talking to our young people about these things, because they won't always be with mom and daddy. All right. They won't always be with them. I have 3 adult children, 3, one that's in graduate school right now, stuff. So, and this is something I taught her as well. So just want to make sure we always want to make sure we cover these things. And then you can add on to those as well. All right, so let's talk about something real quick. All right, FICO score. All right. A lot of people don't know this right here, but FICO, all right, it's just an abbreviation. It's very important that we understand this right here. When we know better, we do better. So FICO was founded in 1956 as Fair, Isaac, and Company. That's what FICO stands for. People always say, what's your FICO score? Need to know that. FICO was founded in 1956 by Fair, Isaac, and the actual name is Fair, Isaac, and Company. FICO is just abbreviation. And these are the people that came up with this. It was William Fair. He was one of the original founders and was an engineer by trade, okay, which means that, you know, his story, and I won't get into all that tonight, but his story on how they can get paid off of establishing something that can house credit scores is amazing. All right, and then you got Earl Isaac, was another founder and was a mathematician by trade. Okay, he was the math guy that was in here. It says the two met while they were working at Stanford Research Institute in Menlo Park, California. So that's what FICO was originally founded at. And why are we talking about FICO tonight? Because we're getting into credit. Credit has a couple of different houses. You see many of them, but the main two, and I'm going to be stressed that a little bit, the main two. I understand you got Credit Karma and credit this and all these other things, but the main two, when it comes to people pulling your credit, they're either going to pull from your FICO score or they're going to pull from your Vantage score. All right. And I'll touch into that just a few seconds here. All right. So let's talk about it. That's the other one I was coming up with, Vantage score. Vantage score, you can read it yourself, is a consumer credit scoring module created through a joint venture of the three major credit bureaus. And you can read that. So what happened was, once FICO came out, once they started with the FICO score and they get to control the narratives on what they want to report, don't want to report, what they want to remove, what they want to keep, how much they want to charge, how long, when they want to update, the three major credit bureaus, Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian, decided to say, hey, listen, that's the one time they all came together because they all totally different. That's the one thing they came together and say, hey, listen, we need to form our own just in case, because we're losing money now. Since FICO has came into place, we're paying them so much money to house our credit scores or to come up with their scoring algorithms. We need to come up with our own. So Vantage Score was born. Those three did that, and they put their own rules and engagement up in there. And a lot of times, Vantage Score is normally what you'll find in your TransUnion. All right, you'll find that in your TransUnion. Now, you find all three of them in FICO score, Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian, that you find your FICO scores in all three of those. But your Vantage score normally heavily covers through TransUnion. So, and you say, well, Shannon, why are you even telling me this? It's good that you know this, because if you go to a bank and you are trying to apply for a credit card or apply for a loan, you want to ask them, what scoring algorithm or module do you use? And that person that's sitting in the seat might be like, well, what do you mean? That means they're not the person you need to be talking to. Don't let somebody run your credit and you don't know what you're doing, because now they may be running and you not be squared away in that right there. So you want to ask them, it's fair. It's a free question. What do you use? They'll go back and say, hey, we use Vantage Score over here. Well, you should know that already by either downloading the app or already had your stuff together. Go back and say, well, my Vantage Score is a 702, so I should be good to go. So now I'm going to get that inquiry, but I am going to get approved for what I'm looking for. You have to know those type of things. That is why I'm talking about that tonight. All right, as we continue to go on. Real quick, this is just a pie chart, very important pie. I understand this is, let me tell you how serious this pie chart is. I don't know what your favorite pie is. Mine is, you know what I'm saying? I like apple pie, you understand what I'm saying? I like several different pies, but this pie chart is along one of your favorites right here. You want to keep this one in your kitchen as well, meaning in your mindset. All right, because it talks about what FICO looks at, what it breaks down to. You talk about the 5 elements of it is new credit, type of credit, length of credit, payment history, and amounts of credit owed. We're going to dive into what all that stuff means right here in just a second. This is called the 5 elements of the FICO score. All right. Now, Vantage Score, if you look, this is their pie chart. All right. They go off, see, if you go back real quick, FICO, they score you off of 5 different elements. But Vantage Score, which is a little bit better, they score you off of 6. The difference in it is they also add available credit. So that can hurt you as well. That's one of the things that do hurt you, or it can help you. You may not have the highest credit score, but if you show that you still got large amounts of available credit on some of the items that you do have out there, a lot of times they'll approve you anyway. That's a good nugget right there, just for you to know. We want to make sure you wrote that one down. Okay, we're going to keep on pushing. That's a 6 element of Vantage Score. All right, let me get all these up right here. I normally have one of my secretaries, somebody running my slides, so bear with me, guys. Bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so right here, let's talk about it real fast. A lot of people don't know that. Instantly, you already given 300 points whenever in FICO. They give you 300. Okay, so 850 is as high as you can go. So you get 300 of the 850. So which only means that you only got 550 points that you got to really be worried about. But it's hard for a lot of people. So if you're sitting on a 600-something credit score, they gave you 300. You see what I'm saying? You get 300. So that means that you really need to take a hardcore look at the 5 elements and see where you're slacking at. So how do you do that? 35% of 550, all right, that's payment history. That's 190. It accounts for 192.5 of your points. 30% of the 550 is 165 points. 15% is 550. I'm sorry, is 82.5. And on and on and on. So you have to be able to look at that and say, well, where am I struggling at? It's going to make a little bit more sense here, because I know somebody not like, still kind of confusing, Lee, but I got you. No worries. But all that together equals total of 550 if you're doing all those things right there. Okay, that'll get you up to an 850 credit score. So we're going to dive up, keep going. All right. Now, Vantage scores well, and then we're going to go back and revisit that. Vantage scores well. It's kind of the same. It's just adding that 6-1 up in there. That available credit, which is 3% of 550 is 16.5. All right, so it's the same situation. It's just that they added available credit. All right, they too gave you a total of 300 some points as well. If you have a question about that towards the end, please ask me because I want to make sure you don't get confused. I just want to get through some of these slides. Hopefully it's going to make sense in just a second. All right, so stay with me. Okay, 35% as we talked about. All right, I'll get all these up. That's payment history. What are we talking about here? All right, I want to dive into this slide. Please pay close attention to this right here. It's telling you right now, 35%. That's the largest part of the pie. It's telling you now, pay your bills on time. We all heard that. As adults, we don't want to hear nothing like that. I'm grown. Don't tell me that type of stuff. Well, I'm not going to tell you. I'm just going to advise you. I'm into recommending, advising, persuading, and suggesting alternatives. So I'm doing all those to make sure that you do the right thing. It's telling you pay your bills on time. Okay, what happens if I can't pay my bill on time, Shannon? Okay, all right, so let me tell you what you need to do. Please hear me well. Pick up the phone and call them and make payment arrangements. Do not allow them to report a 30-day late payment on your credit report. It is hard to get that fixed. It is. Call them and make some type of arrangement. Make them give it to you in writing. Tell them to email that payment arrangement to me so I got a record of it. Do not report me 30 days late. Make payment arrangements. All right, now, and it tells you real quick, this is the tricky thing. Family, listen, one late payment, it takes away 3 good payments. So if you paid in June, July, and August, and then September, you paid that payment late, it wipes out those 3 good payments. And then it takes 3 more good payments to wipe out that late payment. Somebody in chat group tell me if that's some good information. Somebody do something. Andrew, come up on mute, man. Tell me what they're saying about that. You got to know that.
Yeah, Brother Conjay just put in there good stuff, man. So
okay.
I'm with them, man. This is some good information here.
Please, you got to know that. That is why it's so hard to get your credit fixed. One late payment wipes out 3. It wipes out in the system 3. So it looks like you have missed 3. You didn't miss them, but you have neglected 3 good payments. All right, but then you got to go back and so if you got a total of 6 late payments in there, you got to take 6 times 3 and talk about that and make that many good payments on time consecutively before your credit start turning around. It don't matter. Man, I've been paying it on time for the last 3 months. It doesn't matter. That's not enough time. You got to keep on paying it times 3 in order to get to where you have to go. It's a system that's in place. That's how that works right there. That's why I wanted to dive into that real tough. Payment history. Pick up the phone and call them and make payment arrangements. Please do. If you don't want to do it, call me. I'll call them for you. Have no problem. We do it all the time. All right, we're going to keep on going. 30% utilization. Let me talk about this real quick. So the FICO algorithm states that each card should be between 1.1 to 8.9%. So many people have told you, when I ask right now, well, what should your credit card be between? So most people are going to come off the net and say 30%. That's because that's some stuff they taught us. That is your total utilization of all your credit, not just that one, but all your credit, your actual credit card. And I'm going to break it down for you in just a second. Just remember that, and I'm going to come back and dive into that. 30% is for overall total utilization, just like I just said. Excuse me, y'all, I apologize. What do you mean when you say no memory element? So right now, the current FICO score modules, that's out, FICO 8, FICO 9, and all that, they don't have no memory, meaning, watch this. Right now, it's tax season. Most people are going to get their taxes. Once they get done shopping and all that, they're going to pay some bills that they fell behind on. And then they're going to see rises in their credit scores. So now when you go to a lender or to a car salesman, whatever, to try to get a car, then they're going to look at your credit and they're going to see where your credit score is. And they're going to see, and they're going to look at your payment history. And then they're going to go ahead and approve you for a car. But the new FICO 10 algorithm, I'm going to come back and get to that. Remember what I just told you, okay? It's no memory right now, but we're updating from FICO 8, 9, and all that stuff and going into FICO 10. So again, you want to keep balances low. I promise you I'm going to come back and visit that right there, and you're going to say, my goodness, man, I got to get myself together. All right, so here's the utilization thresholds. I'm feeling like this is what somebody got to talk to me right now. So when I just told you right now, you hear these things out there where people tell you, you got to keep your credit utilization under 30%. Even when you Google it, it's going to tell you that. But the words have meaning. They're talking about your total credit utilization, meaning your credit cards and all that stuff like that. Right? So that's why they tell you, people be like, I don't want no credit cards. Well, you almost got to get some type of credit cards or you'll never get no good credit scores. It just don't work like that. To get good credit scores, you got to be able to utilize credit. But watch this, what I'm going to tell you real quick. 8.9%, that's what I'm talking about. That's where that's where you're showing that you're pretty strong, keeping your credit cards under that. So 28.9%, that's 30. We're talking about total overall. When you start getting even on one card, 48.9, 68 point, that's 70% of your credit. But watch this, y'all, family. Anytime you get at almost 90%, all right, they always use those even words like 80%, 50%, 60%, because they don't want to confuse you, but it's not 60%. It's not even 30%. It's 28.9%. They just say 30% so that it's not confusing to people. But watch this. Somebody out there type in the chat group, what is your limit on your credit card? I'm not going to ask you what you owe on it, just your limit. And I'm going to tell you right now, how do you find out how much you need to pay to get up under one of these thresholds? Blue, you got to help me out. Just pick out a number out there for me, man. I don't want to click on nothing and then log off.
All right, no problem. So let's go with 5,000.
So if somebody has a $5,000 credit card, all right, I'm not going to ask you how much you spent on it because that's personal. But if you take right now, okay, if you take 5,000 times 8.9, it'll tell you what you need to pay on it to get under 10%. Somebody do that. You're going to have to move the decimal a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Because it's going to look kind of weird. But those first four numbers or so, because there's that 5,000, 3 or 4 numbers, it's going to tell you. So tell them to put it in the chat room and tell us what that is. Give me another one real quick, Andrew, and then I'm gonna keep the ball rolling on this. I want to pick
Okay, I don't have another number in the chat yet, but
okay.
If someone's in the chat, if you want to put a number in of what your credit card limit is.
Okay, if they want to stay with the 5,000 one, that's fine. So you can also find out what 30% of it is. You can take 5,000 times 28.9, not what you owe on it, but what you need to have it at in order to get 30% or less. That's what you should have. No more than that is what you can spend on that card before you get into these thresholds. Can you tell me what that number is?
Let's see. Haven't came in the chat, but I got a couple more numbers. Oh, I think 445.
Yeah.
Someone put in 445. Yeah.
Yeah. 4,445. This is at 5,000. Absolutely. To get it under that 8.9. So whatever that is minus 5,000, that 445 minus 5, that's the most you can spend on that monthly right there. I know the limit says, you understand, but when you get it, if you want to stay under the 10 percentile, all right, so and am I telling you you're in trouble if you don't? No, I'm not. But you're not maximizing your points to give to trick the algorithm to give you the maximum amount of points towards your credit score. When you hit these thresholds, there's penalties for going over these thresholds. This is why you're saying, I pay it on time. I pay my stuff on time. They even tell you, make the minimum payment. They don't have any issue with that. But what they won't tell you is that in order to maximize your scores, you have to stay under these thresholds. This is extremely powerful. Please, please, please. Somebody had their hand raised. I'll address it real quick because I got a few other slides I want to get through.
Yeah, Brother Lee, Brother Kunje here. So are you saying on a $5,000 limit, you should have no more than a balance of $445?
No. That the decimal didn't move over. So 5,000, you had to add that zero. So you're saying whatever. I'm not looking at numbers. So 4,400, whatever that number is, that's what it has to be at to maximize the 8.9%. So you'll tell yourself 5,000 minus that dollar, that number you came up with, that whatever that minus number is, that is what you're spending before you go over spending 10% of that credit card.
Oh, so 5,000 minus the 445.
No, it should be not 445. It should be if it's 5. You said 500 or 5,000. I'm sorry, man.
So the credit limit was 5,000, and
yes.
You said to multiply the 8.9%.
Yeah, but you got to add that extra zero in there because you got $5,000. So to keep it under 10%, basically under that 10%, you're on. You know what I'm saying? You minus that number, add that zero, minus that, minus 5,000. That 4,400. It just said 400 and 450. But add a zero.
450. Okay.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Yes. So whatever that 100 and or that what is that, 160 something thousand? I don't know. Whatever that difference is, that's your 10% threshold before you go over 10%. Does that not make sense? Because I want to make sure you're straight.
So, I mean, when I think of 10%, I think of $500. 5,000, 10% of 5,000 is $500. So are we saying that
Well, that's what I'm saying. 500. What I mean is that's to maximize the 10% threshold. All right. You see what I'm saying? That as long as it doesn't, you're right. That is $500 of $5,000. What I'm saying is, I was using more as if it was an odd number. So you want to stay under that to maximize that 10%. You're actually right. I thought you were saying 5. I was kind of mixing it up a little bit, man. It's coming in as an echo on my end. So, but I think me and you're saying the same thing.
Okay. So basically, if I have a $5,000 limit, I don't want to spend no more than $500 and have a balance of 4,500.
Yes. That's
Okay.
exactly what I'm saying. Yeah, but you can spend more than that. But I'm saying to maximize your points in the system,
Okay, got you. Appreciate you. Thank you.
All right. So we're gonna drive on. I want to touch this real quick because there's gonna be some more questions. Where you see 88.9, they basically said 90%. The system recognizes when you get a credit card that's that high and you spend that much on it's equivalent to one late payment. It looks the same. It won't say that in the system, but when people are looking at your credit profile, they're saying, listen, this is a person that's maxing out their credit. We're not going to lend them any money, or they may disapprove it. They're going to write in that little writing. They're going to say balance is too high. I don't know if anybody's ever seen that too much. They're going to say too many inquiries, balance is too high, and a bunch of other mumbo jumbo. That's what they're talking about. Because if you got those type of balances, it's equivalent to saying one late. It's telling the system, here's a person that may not pay their bills on time. That might not be the case, but your balances being that high is what it says to the algorithm, to the system. When out there, so they get to make a decision based on that. It's a little confusion. That's why I want to make sure you guys understand that. I'm gonna move on from that, but we'll come back to that because I want to make sure I touch it and to clear it up just a little bit more as we drive on. All right. So if you have your questions, hold tight. We're gonna get back to it. All right. Then again, it says credit limit used. Again, this is kind of what we're talking about. When I kept saying you want to keep it on those 10%, on that 30%. Because when lenders are looking at your credit profile, if you're doing these things, they instantly say, here's a person that manages their credit. They have excellent management. That's how you manage your credit, because you're keeping everything under 10%. You're in the good category when you're keeping it under 30%. When you're keeping it under 50%, they calling it fair, even though you still got money on it and you're paying it on time. But you're keeping your balances down under these aggregates to the eye of the person that wants to prove you. They're saying, here's a person that's in the poor category. They might not want to pay. So we go get them a lot of money or try to get them some kind of consolidation. They may instantly abort on us right here. This is what that says to them. This is why people that have bad credit have such a hard time getting something, because it tells the system that you don't want to pay your bills on time, even though that may not be the case. It's just the system that's out there. But when you know these things right here, you can go back and try to come back there and say, I got to get myself together. That's how important this is, because if a situation happened, I might be stuck. That's what they're talking about. All right. All right. So we're talking about credit age. Here's some other stuff that's really, really close. 15% is credit age. Okay. Time since accounts open. I hear people ask us all the time, man, listen, I'm closing that account now. Sometimes you're not going to be able to beat that. Eventually, you're going to pay your house off, hopefully. Eventually, you're going to pay your car off. Eventually, you're going to pay your student loans off. Eventually, you're going to pay some type of revolving credit bill off, your credit card off. But what I'm saying is, they're telling you some accounts going to end up closing, and you're going to take a hit. It's no way around that. But you don't want to go in there closing out an account because you don't like that credit card. I'm going to talk about that in just a second. Try your best not to go in there and close out a credit card that you just don't like. Sometimes it's just the people just won't help you and you just don't have a choice. But understand in your mindset that you're going to take an L on that. You are going to take an L on that. Okay, 15% of your credit age is going to take a hit. All right, and then it says lenders look for longevity and credit history. Everybody knows that. But here's what I want to tell you. This is why a lot of times people say, find somebody that can co-sign for you, or find somebody older or somebody that's got that you've known that had good credit for a long time, because they're looking at someone. My grandmother, I can't lie, when I was in trouble a long time ago, thank God she did it. I'm so grateful. I was in a bad situation, but she put me on one of her credit cards. She had that credit card for 17 years. So she had maxed that out at 9+ years to maximize the most points. That's why they tell you the closer you can get to 9 years, that's how you maxing out this 15% if you're trying to get to an 850 credit score. That's how you maximize that out. That length of credit in good standing. That length of credit in good standing. Okay. 9 years. Here's the trick to that. Somebody said, well, what happens is I have a credit card now. I'm at 8.8 years, and you get a new credit card. What that end up doing is they end up taking it, and now you got a credit card that says 8.1. 8.1. So it tells them that you have established some type of new credit, which will cause them a lot of times to question it. Don't mean you won't get approved, but that's how they look and see you got new lines of credit. It takes away a little bit from that length of credit because they have a system in there to decide where you really at. Are you still at 8%? Now you're at 8.1%. 8.1% because you got a new line of credit. That's why they tell you, do not try to open up a bunch of credit cards at the same time. Sometimes you can't help it. But that's why they're saying that right there. Does that make sense? I see some people with some confused looking faces. Okay, all right, we're gonna drive on. It's just something you want to know. They don't teach us that right there. You got to know that stuff like that right there. Sometimes you can't help it, but remember that right there so you don't get confused when they go back and tell you, well, because of what they will do. I've seen this happen as well, family. I've seen a person get 8.2, got 2 new credit cards, one year, another year, and then they got ready to try to get approved for house. When they looked at what they thought was their length of credit, they took that 8.2, they divided it some kind of way and came up with that number, and it ended up being that number versus that long number. So they divided it, and that's how they came up with that new length of credit. It can cause it to spin around. So if you're trying to get a home or you're trying to make a big purchase, if you can help it, that's why they always tell you, don't open anything. Anybody ever close on a home can tell you right now. They tell you, when we pulled your credit and started this process, ma'am, sir, ma'am, do not open up any more credit. Do not, because they've already calculated what your credit history is, length of credit and all that, and approved you to get this loan. But whenever you get ready to close on it, they're going to pull your credit again, and they don't want to see where you've already established some new credit or some new debt right there. That's why they do that. Hopefully that's beneficial to somebody again. So again, we'll revisit that as well. So stay with me. 10% credit mix, and then we're going to keep on pushing. This is confusing to a lot of folks as well, but I want you to know this real quick. Oh, I'm sorry. So mix of credit. People will come to me and say, I'm sick of all them credit cards. Well, I'm going to tell you now, man, you might want to try to get different mix of credit. That's the only way you're going to maximize your credit. Creditors want to see that you can manage multiple things. They want to see that you can manage 2 to 3 credit cards. They do. And then it helps you when you have at least 2 to 3 credit cards, because now if you got you done spent a lot of money on that card you like the most, but that 30% is divided by all 3 of those right there. So it takes some of the sting off of your over total utilization. Hey, drop me some 5s in there if that makes any sense, because I don't want to just be talking and nobody don't understand. If that makes sense, somebody drop me some 5s, please. Okay, great. Thank you, family, because I don't want you to be confused on that. It is so important that you know that right there. That's why you'll say, man, this guy trying to get me. No, we're going to tell you, if you talking about you want to buy a house and you got 2 to 3 credit cards, we got to activate those, man, and get those moving. All right. So at the end of the day, this is a big bullet here, and it scares a lot of folks. But right now, anybody that's in the 800 credit club, I am, humbly speaking, thank you. I hadn't always been there. But you got to have at least 21 plus accounts to even maximize that. Revolving accounts, you do. There's no way 3 credit cards will get you an 850. So don't tell nobody that's what you want to be, because you're not going to get there. I'm just going to give it to you straight. You can still get in the 700s, but you're not crossing over to that 850 without less than, you're going to have 3, 4, 5, some type of credit cards and have great standing with them all. Straight up. I've only seen 850 on like 4 people. Like 4 people that I've been doing this for the last 7 years. But I've seen 850, a perfect credit score. I've seen it at least 4 times. But I see 820s, 8 this and 8 that, and all those type of things like that. Somebody got their hand raised. You want to entertain that, Andre? I'll see if I can answer so before I get up out of there. No?
Sorry, Brother Kanjay. You're muted, brother.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
All right, so Brother Lee, sorry, man. I just want to make sure I'm clear on
No,
this.
you good.
So you're saying the only way you get into the 800s is if you have 21 or more accounts, mixed accounts? No. To get a perfect 850, but to get into the 800s, you need at least three or more cards, to get into that 3 or more good cards, not a $500 credit card and a $1,200 credit card. You know what I'm saying? They want you to have bigger balance. You can still get into the 700s
and high sevens. But to cross over into the 800s, you're going to need at least 3 to 5 good credit cards. You can have other ones, but 3 to 5 good credit cards. Or
Like
you know, mix
American
it.
Express or something?
Yes. Amex is a home run hitter. Now it's also one to get bat you out right off the rip if you mess that up. But absolutely that's a great call right there. Amex is a really good one.
Okay.
All right. And I'm gonna talk about those in just a second. All right.
All right. I have another question that's in the chat. All right. So it says, question from my son. Can you get multiple credit cards and use it to pay off each other credit cards?
Absolutely.
Meaning use my Visa to pay my MasterCard, use my MasterCard to pay my Discover card, and my Discover card to pay my Visa.
Ooh, man, whoever that is just hit a home run, man. I listen, I'm telling you, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, I'll even tell you 100%, you know, don't make them work for each other. That is the reason why we tell people don't be scared to have credit cards. Utilize them to help each other so that you got activity on them all, because one hand washes the other when it comes to credit. Matter of fact, that is powerful. All right. So for me right now, I pay my mortgage and I pay a couple of other bills because I'm going to pay my mortgage no matter what. That's the one thing I'm going to tell you. I'm not going to put me and my family on the street. So they take my mortgage. I use my credit card every month. It just comes out of that. And then I just pay my mortgage. So I still got my money versus them debiting it out of my checking account. And that's a debit out of my checking account. You take it I already had the money that you gave me. You gave it to me on credit. I paid it with my credit, and then I paid my credit back and paid myself. So I still have that same money. So now I got a strong payment history, a high limit, and a good scoring grade. Hopefully that makes sense to somebody. I'm going to keep on pushing. As Andre, I know we're pushing back on time, so I'm going to keep pushing.
Oh, go ahead, brother.
Okay. All right. So 10% new inquiries. What I want to highlight on, or inquiries, depending on where you're from. All right. What I want to highlight on this right here, it says number of new accounts. Okay. Number of recent inquiries. Okay. These are things that can hurt your credit. Length that they have been open. I mean, new ones, you guys already know that. That kind of shows a pattern. When you go, here's why I tell people, and if we got any children out there, because adults are the hardest to get this together with, because can't nobody tell an adult nothing. You're already an adult. But watch this. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, when you go and try to get a new car, go ahead and try to get approved through a bank or get a pre-approved before you go there. Don't let some car dealership run your card, run your Social Security 30-something times to find out, because here's the thing that you do not get to see. The first bank they got may have approved you, but it may not have gave them the benefits that they want. So if they can't get nothing out of it, you understand what I'm saying? Then they're not going to do that. They're going to run to find out what's going to be beneficial for them as well. What are you saying, Shannon? Meaning, Capital One might have already approved you. You didn't see that yet. You're going to see it when you see that inquiry on it. They might have approved you. They might have told you, yeah, we're going to charge them 13% or 15% interest, but they got to put down $1,200 and and we'll finance it at such. That may have been the best deal. But when they go back and tell you, we're going to finance it at 21%. So now that person, they're going to get more money in interest and stuff like that. They'll come back and tell you, well, hey, here's the ones that said they'll do it for you and everything. And us just know we need the car. We got our back up against the wall. We're like, yeah, okay, shoot, man. And don't even worry about that and getting highway robbery out there. Get your credit fixed so you can figure out what's the best course of action for you. Keep your money in your pocket. Okay, that's what it's there. Guess what? To tell that car dealer, that car ain't gonna sell sitting out on the lot. You're not gonna get paid if it's sitting out on the lot. You get me the best rate, the best deal, or I'm out of here. Okay, all right. That's what good credit will let you do. So, but here's something I want you to know as well, family. Stay with me. A lot of people go and they want to get their credit fixed. But here's the deal. If you got 2 or 3 or 4 credit cards, of course you got inquiries that came with that, or inquiries that came with that. Be extremely careful with removing inquiries, because if you go back and tell somebody or write a letter or send a letter up or call some credit repair company and say, I want all these inquiries removed, and they don't go over it with you and they go back, they don't know you. They send a letter off saying that you want all those. They're going to automatically close those accounts because you said it wasn't yours. Somebody opened up some accounts in your name. Now you're going to try to use your American Express. I'm like, man, what in the world? What's that? No. You didn't told the 3 major credit bureaus and the FTC that those aren't yours. So they didn't investigate it and said, okay, well, we believe them. So we closing them all down. So it's good to get credit inquiries removed, but you need to know which ones you want removed. That one you had back in 3 years ago when you were still in Chicago, now you live in Florida, that's not you anymore. Get that removed. Get that removed. Does everybody understand what I'm saying? Somebody drop me some fives if that makes sense. I want to make sure that makes sense, everybody. I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. Somebody help me out. Drop me some fives in there, Jen. I don't want to make you sleepy. I want to make sure I educate you because this stuff is extremely important. Thank you out there. Thank you, bro. All right, somebody with me still. Okay, I'll keep pushing then. I'll keep pushing. I'll keep on pushing. Here's something that I want you to take a look at right here. Please, you're going to see 2 of these slides.
All right. Brother Lee, before you move to that one, we had a question about that last slide. How do we get those things removed?
Okay, my information is at the end of this. I have a special letter. I'll email it to you. You know, we normally charge for it, but for showing up tonight, I'll email it to you. It's no problem. You can put it on there. They'll come right off. Ain't no problem. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Sounds
Andrew,
great.
you just help facilitate that, Brother Blue, and I got you, man. It's no problem.
All right. Sounds great.
Now, and that's for the folks that made the call. Now, Andre, don't go back and drop it in your chat group that Brother Lee got a letter that he's finna give everybody and everything. If you couldn't make the call, I understand it. But this stuff right here costs, man. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, definitely understand. And it was Brother Shaka, so we got you.
Oh, okay. Well, I got Big Bro. He already know that already. You know, so I got him. Yeah.
Okay.
So let me talk about this real quick. Right now, only thing you guys or most people know is that our information comes from Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. That is not true. So when someone tells you that it takes 30 days when you're trying to get your credit stuff, when you're trying to get your credit reports fixed, right? You send up your letters or you send up disputes that you try to dispute certain things. They say we're going to investigate it. This is what they're talking about. They don't have that information sitting at those 3 credit bureaus. They have to go to these outside, these third-party reporting agencies and find out. So if you got an issue, they have to go. So that's why it takes 30 days because 30 to 45 days because they have to go to those reporting agencies and find out. They have to pay to go get that information, right? So for example, what do you mean? Check Systems is a third-party reporting agency. This is where they keep reports data on checking accounts. Like when you go to apartments, trying to get a new apartment, or when you try to go and write a check somewhere. I know a lot of people don't do that anymore, but you got a history of writing bad checks. This is where that's stored at right there. Yeah, they can pull your check system and find out right now. Nah, man, you wrote bad checks. You got a history of writing bad checks, man. You can't write no check in here in Walmart. You write a check in Walmart, and then they come back talking about it bounce or it won't take. That is what they're talking about because it instantly goes in the check system to see if you are one of these habitual check writers. That's where they store that stuff at. You got CoreLogic. Read that with me, family. Reports that on payday lenders. When these people that go get them payday lenders and stuff like you said, man, I ain't paying them people back, man, with them folks right there. And then plus I'm moving from Jersey and I'm going all the way down to Florida. It still stay with you because CoreLogic cover them all. All right, rent to own furniture, auto finance and leasing. This is where that stuff is stored at. Subprime home buyers and collectors. Those people that keep calling you and all that stuff like that because they're getting their information from CoreLogic. You're going to say, Shannon, what do we need to do? I got to dive in these because I want to make sure everybody hear this. Innovis provides ID verification data to assist with fraud detection and prevention. This is to see if you're somebody stealing somebody's identity. Does your signature match these things? It's in that system right there. Yeah. So SageStream, reporting information from consumer reports, auto lenders, credit card issuers, retailers, utilities, and cell phone providers. LexisNexis, this is one of the most popular ones. Public records, this is where bankruptcies go, and repossessions and evictions and all those type of things. They can all be fixed, but that's where they get that information at Equifax, TransUnion, Experian. They're not denying you. They're just the creditors or the lenders are going through Equifax, TransUnion, Experian, who are now going to get that information from these people right here. Yeah, that's where it's coming from, period. All right, here's a few more, some of the same folks, but these are some numbers. And why did I give you guys this? Because if you are trying to get your credit fixed or restored, we restore credit. Here's the slide that tells you, call and freeze these. You have a right to freeze these so that nobody can get any data off you. Well, if you can't verify me, then it must be removed. It's your right to get and freeze these things. Mine are all frozen. You got to contact me first before you do anything to talk about with my social security and everything. You got to contact me first. That's what they're talking about right there. You can freeze them and you can get on the phone and unfreeze them. You can go on their website, freeze them, and you can go on their website, unfreeze them. Right there. Yeah. If that's value, somebody drop me some fives. I want to see if everybody's still with me. if that's bringing some value to you, there you go. Thank you. I want to make sure we bringing some value. I don't want to just be talking just to be talking. This is only phase one of this. All right, we almost through this, so stay with me. Let me show you real quick that I didn't make this stuff up. If you look right here, this is a friend of mine. He did a bankruptcy a few years ago. He thought it was at its own as Equifax Experian, and but it wasn't on his TransUnion, all right, because it's not mandatory they report anything in another credit report. But he wanted to find out, well, how do I get it removed? Why am I fighting Equifax TransUnion Experian? You want to fight it there as well. But if the account was frozen, then they couldn't verify that he had one. He didn't know that. But look right here, guys. Look at my cursor. It says this section includes public records, blah, 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 blah. Listen, from a third-party vendor, LexisNexis. That's where it came from. That's on his. Can anybody see that? Somebody give me a thumbs up. Yeah, that's where it's at. That's where it's at right there. It came from LexisNexis. But they wouldn't have been able to verify it. So he froze this. He froze it. He froze that account. When he went back to fight it again, they couldn't verify it. You have to verify it based 30 days off of when I go to fight it. You don't get to do 39 or 52. You by law. The 1971 Fair Credit Act says you have a right to dispute anything erroneous, derogatory, obsolete, or outdated from your credit report. That's the law. So if you freeze it, then they can't verify it. Now that's a trick to it right there, guys. That's a lot. But hey, if you need some more help on that, I got you. No problem. All right, so let's get a couple more, and we're gonna get them. All right, I got a question for you real quick, and I want to see it in the chat. Stay with me. How many credit scores do you think you have? Drop it in the chat group. Let me see. I want to see if I can go there. Somebody said 3.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we got 3 in there right now. So 2 people said 3.
Okay. What do you think they are? Somebody tell me what they think they are. What are your 3 credit scores? I mean, your 3 credit scores. What do you think they are? Anybody? It's okay if you don't know. What do you think your 3 credit scores? Somebody said, a lot of people said 3.
Well,
no problem.
You said FICO, and the other one that you mentioned, that's 2, right? Vantage and FICO.
Okay. All right. And this is why we have to do these right here, Andre. Stay with me, gents. Listen to me real well. No, those are scoring modules. You have 28 credit scores. 28. What do you mean, Mr. Lee? It's right here in front of you. Equifax, they all look like they're the same, but you have a FICO 8 score. That's 1. You have a FICO mortgage score. That's why when some people go and say, man, I pulled my credit on Credit Karma, but when I went to the car dealership, they said it was something totally different because you have an auto score. That's totally different, okay? So Equifax used FICO 8. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Experian the same, 9. They look like they're all the same. Some of them use the same scoring module but 9 times 3 is 20. You have, well, it's 27, but you have a total of 28 because you got FICO 10. But you got 28 credit scores, family. So why are you telling us this, Shannon? This is confusing. Well, you got to get unconfused because you're getting killed out here by not understanding what's what. So if I'm going to get a house, okay, and I'm going through Wells Fargo, well, I'm going into Wells Fargo. I'm just using this as an example. And I'm telling them right now, I know I got a 715 credit score. I know it takes at least a 640 to get a house on most cases. Watch this. Well, I'm looking at my credit score and it's telling me I got a 710. Well, if I go to Experian, okay, and I'm going to ask Experian, what scoring algorithm do you use? Or my friend Shannon Lee already told me that. So I need to go in there telling you already. Well, my FICO mortgage score 2, that's the algorithm that they use. It's calculated on how you make your mortgage payments right now, or that's why they tell people that's renting houses and everything. They use a score lower in these departments. That's why they tell you to sign up from one of those rent reporting places so that you can show that you're paying rent on time. Because when it's time to get a house, your score is most likely going to be low because you don't have any record showing that you can pay rent a large amount of money on time. And most of the time, where we live is the largest bill that we have. It's right there. It's right there. If you went to TransUnion, if you went to Navy Federal, who they deal with TransUnion a lot, and you go there, they use FICO mortgage score 4. What do they look for in there? How do you get these things? Well, I'm not going to tell anybody to go download the FICO app. All right, the regular one that's like $9.99 is not going to give you all those things. But that other one, I don't want somebody charging you $24.99 a month. But it may be worth it if you're going to make a big purchase to go in there and do that and keep it for about 90 days so you can see all your scores. Man, come on. If that's dropped some value right there, somebody dropping some 7s. Give me my lucky 7s. I need to know. I need to know. I need to know. I need to know. Yes. Family, listen to me real quick, and I'm gonna wrap this up. I want you to listen. When you, right now, the four top, thank you guys, I see you. The 4 most used credit scores that we have right now, number 1, you have a credit score. That's your total credit score. That's got to give you a body of everything you got going on. Number 2, you have a auto score. Yeah, it's right here. You have auto scores. So your auto score. So how do you get that then, Shannon? Well, if a person that's had the same car for a while that's paid off, a lot of times their scores are kind of low there. They still approve you probably because of your credit, showing that you got a strong payment history and that you pay your bills on time. But your auto score may, but for a person that don't pay their bills on time and they got a low auto score, you're probably not going to get a good deal. You're going to score really low on that. So you have a regular credit score, auto score. You also have an, insurance score. Anybody on this thing or know somebody that's ever said, man, insurance high as a kite, man. Instantly, I'm not judging anybody, but I deal with credit. I know that person probably don't have the best credit scores because it's high regardless, but it's not as high when you got excellent credit. Yeah, you say, well, that's crazy, Shannon. Why would they charge me for my because here is the deal. I'm not saying you, so don't go back and tell nobody I said you, but what I am telling you is the system tells them that people with bad credit make poor decisions, so you're most likely to create fraud, burn the vehicle up, do an on-purpose accident to try to get some type of insurance claim. This ain't my words. These are just the facts that they won't tell you. That's what it is, man. I see it all the time. Yeah. Here's the last one I want you to know about. You have a hiring grade, but it's a score. It's a hiring grade. And on my next series, Andre, I'm going to pull it up and show you. It'll tell you whether you're an A+ person, a B person, a C person, a D person, or an F person. Usually when you got bad credit, you fall into the F category. And in that, it says to them, you're most likely to not get promoted, okay? You're most likely to get advancements. You're most likely to get paid less, or if they start cutting back, and that's one of the stipulations, it may not have affected you that you've been there 14 years, but now the labor stuff getting hard out there, and they got to start cutting back. So they say, well, it's in our bylaws that here's one of the ways that we can start cutting back on folks. We get to show people their credit. We're going to do a credit analysis on everybody, and anybody that falls in the category, we're going to let them go. That's how that works. I see it every day. I just helped a person today, been on the job 16 years. 16 years. That job let them go. And I asked them, did you think you was a good person? They said, yes. I said, do you think you trustworthy? They said, yes. I said, well, that's what they don't think so. That's why they let you go. Because you wasn't disciplined enough to fix your credit. I told you, it ain't if it's going to happen, it's when. It's going to happen. I'm telling you. Bottom line up front. And to all my business owners out there, you can sit back and tell I got my LLC, I'm something LLC, and all this stuff right here. Well, if you got tore up credit, you will never get any business loans or business funding or none of that stuff. You got to get your credit fixed. Credit is key. All right, family. So I got a couple more and then we'll get up out of here. This is what I said I was going to come back to, and it's on a recorded call. I did not want to lie. Family, it's in place now. It's called FICO 10T, okay? And that means FICO 10 trending. New scoring system released January 2020. They had to take it back in. All right, and then the new score is called VantageScore 4.0. It was the last one I showed y'all was VantageScore 3.0. What are you saying, Shannon? This is why I need you guys to listen to me. Work on your credit because of this. These new scoring system will influence over 80 million consumers. Remember I told you in the old scoring algorithms, the old ones, it had a no memory, meaning if you got your taxes and you paid all your bills that you've been behind on all year, then you could go back and it'll update your credit score, and it also look like you got a strong payment history. Now the new FICO 10T trending down, that's what that means. It goes back 24 months. So 24 months ago, if you still had bad credit, but it shows that your credit only gets fixed around the first between 1 January and 1 April, or whenever income tax come out, it's going to tell you right then and there, no, here's a person right here does not have good habits or we will not approve you. You're going to be like, man, I got a 715 credit score. Y'all tripping. No, they're not. They're telling you to keep your stuff squared away the whole time. Be more squared away 90% than 10%. Be, you know what I'm saying? They want you to be not tore up 90% and fixed 10%. They want you to be squared away 90% and maybe jammed up 10%. Hopefully that makes sense to you. I hope so, man. That's some heavy heat right there. That is. All right. So, Andre, that is the last slide I have tonight, man. I know I've been going at them pretty hard.
Oh, some great information. We definitely appreciate it. So I know we had some time for some Q&A. So if anyone have any questions, you could bring yourself off of mute and ask, or you could put it in the chat. Either way.
Before you do that, Andre, I'm gonna stop sharing my slide real quick, okay?
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
Okay. Okay, I'm ready.
All right. So we had someone put in the chat just powerful information. Are there any questions at all? Brother Kanjay also said excellent information as well.
Okay.
All right. Great info. Will this be available on recording again? I have a few distractions. Great info. Sister Angela. So yes, Angela, we'll definitely have this for you to be able to share with you.
I'm gonna address something real quick too. That'll come into, it'll lead into our next time we do this.
Okay.
You're welcome, Angela. No problem. Here's, and trust me when I tell y'all, this was easy. I just wanted to do over time. And listen, it's enough to make your head hurt. We do this every day, but I want to share some with you. So when I went back to the car, I want to make sure I address that. When we start talking about your credit cards and not closing out your credit cards, family, please listen. Learn this, what I'm about, learn this information, or really hear this information I'm going to tell you. So you got a credit card, you're like, man, listen, that credit card, they charge me an annual fee every month or annual fee every year. They charge me a monthly fee. It's a horrible card. I had to get it because my credit was messed up, but I had to start somewhere. Here's what you need to do instead of closing that card out. Call the number and ask them for a product change. What do you mean, Shannon? Product change. Sometimes anywhere where they have starter cards, so now they don't have to pull a new inquiry on you, so you get a new inquiry. You ask, if so, just say Capital One. You got that low-end Capital One credit card right now. Capital One got some beautiful credit cards out there right now. I have one myself, but you got a Capital One credit card, the starter one, whatever it may be. I can't tell you all the time. I think I got a picture of it in one of my slides. But that credit card, it's a $300 limit, all right? But you've been with them now for the last 2 years since you went bankruptcy or since you came out of hardship. You call them and say, hey, listen, man, I've been with y'all for 2 years, man, paying my stuff on time. What's the next updated credit card that I can go to? They'll say, well, let me look at your stuff. Hey, Mr. Lee, you've been paying your stuff on time. You know what? You do qualify for our second level card now. All right, now, and then they're gonna say, well, what's the perks that come with that one? Well, this one doesn't have an annual fee. And this one right here, it does charge a monthly fee because it's just a second grade higher, but it gets perks. Ask for a product change instead of going to apply for a new credit card. See if you can change that same card out. Come on, man. If that's some valuable information, drop me some sevens in there, man. Please, please.
I'm going to say it. 77777.
Yes. That's good information.
Yes, man. Yeah, that's how you got to know how to work the system. Brother Blue, that's it for me, man. I'm standing by, and I mean, I yield the floor to you, my brother.
All right.
I have a question, Brother Billy.
Okay.
So Brother Lee, Brother Shaka, he mentioned this, and you confirmed it. You said that you could take cards, you could have multiple cards, have one card pay the other card, then turn around, have the other card pay the other card. Does that actually help? Yeah,
because here's the thing. So listen, the system is not it's man-made system, but it's not a person that's accepting your payment. It's a system. Okay, it's a system. It doesn't matter. So, for example, it just shows payment was being paid. It don't matter where it came from, as long as the payment was made. Here's the even bigger part of that right there. If you get into the habit, just say if your payment for your last credit card is $100, it's $100 is the payment a month. That may be high. I'm just giving you a number real quick. All right, but watch this. And the payment is due on the 19th or let's go on the 15th. It's due on the 15th of every month. So here's the deal. How about you pay it before the 15th? Pay $50 before the 15th. Now it's registered showing that it's paid on time because you paid it before the 15th. All right. Now, and then you pay it again, or actually, I'm sorry, I don't want to confuse you. It's due on the 15th. Okay, you want to pay that payment. You want to get in front of it. You want to pay that on the 15th, the full payment, make sure it's paid on time. But your next time, how about you pay half of it on the 30th? Now you're paying $50. The payment's still due the next month on the 15th. You pay $50 on the 30th. Okay, and then on the 15th, you pay the remaining $50. It's going to record that you made two payments. It's going to say you got 2 payments. So at the end of the year, you made 24 payments versus 12 payments, which is a stronger payment history. When the lenders look at the system, it sees 24 payments, not that you paid it on time and that it was on time. It doesn't show it. It doesn't matter that it was the minimum. Don't matter. It's got to record it as 2 payments.
Wow.
So
Wow.
anybody that I know that has bad credit, that's how I help them come up out the hole real quick.
That's good
Man, come
stuff.
on now. Come on. Y'all should show me
Yeah.
some love and everything. I gotta stop, man. I gotta stop. Man, listen.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right.
Any other questions? All right. All right. Well, Brother Lee, man, I appreciate you pouring into us today. I mean, we have some great information to really like start our credit, to really start working on our credit, to be financially responsible.
Yes,
No, that's a big thing. And I really appreciate you sharing with us. So I just once again, I see our president of our chapter, Brother Phillips, came on. I just wanted to say hi to him. And I don't know if you wanted to say anything before we ended the call, Brother Phillips. He may be driving, so I just wanted to make sure he didn't have anything to say, but want to let everyone know I really appreciate you all being on. Brother Gibson, Brother Kanjay, Brother Lee, thanks again. All the brothers, Prince, Brother Rose, everyone. And I just want to thank you all, Miss Davis and Miss Taylor. Just thank you all for joining the call. This has been recorded, so I definitely will share this out with everyone that's on the call. I'm ending that recording right now, actually.